Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I'm doing another speed build which I have called Pop of Color or Pop of Yellow. Probably Pop of Yellow. I can't remember now because I don't know how to name things anymore, but it's a fun speed build, so let's go. If you're interested in this build, you can download it off of the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. So I did this build for RynAsInWin's Color Story Build Challenge. It's so cool. I am in love with this build challenge. This was the first month that she did it for. This was for the month of August. I'm really behind on videos, so that's why we're doing it now. I mean, it still technically is August, but she already like reviewed the entries or, like looking at it and just like, it's a challenge, not a contest. So she just like looked at everything and stuff. You don't win a prize, you just win congratulations and adoration for your build, that kind of thing. But I will be leaving a link to Ryn's Twitch down below and also to the current, as in right now, I can't constantly update this video, the current challenge for the month of September. So if you want to like get in on this challenge and do it, because I had so much fun with it. It's really unique. So what it is, she picks a painting or a piece of decor from this base game, and then she like sets a color palette based off of that painting. So in this case it was the primrose painting. It's like this sort of yellow flower, and so she set the like color palette to be white, black, yellow, and green, and those were the only colors you were allowed to use, or at least based on the swatch color, and you could only do it on this very small lot. And just all the builds were so different because it's enough of a like direction to go in. Like you could only use this color palette and you have to use this painting somewhere in your build, and it has to be within this lot. But you can do it in any style and you can have unlimited funds. You can't use CC though. But other than that, it's like it's got enough of like a base to it that you don't feel directionless, but at the same time it's so like unlimited. It's so cool. Just like my build ended up looking so different from everyone else's, and it was a lot of fun. So I ended up going very modern with this build. I don't know why. I've just been in a modern kick. It's almost like I talked about how I feel a little insecure about my modern builds because they don't really get as much attention. And so I kind of in the past interpreted that as they aren't as good as my other builds. But I was talking with some people, and it's more like, in general, modern builds aren't as popular as, say, like a good old blue suburban home type thing, or just like a fairy tale build, that sort of thing. And so I just was really feeling modern, so I've just been going hardcore modern. I'm definitely going to try and like rein it back because I have another build after this one that is also going to be modern. So it's, I get into moods, and so apparently modern is the mood, but this build ended up being super cute. I love how it turned out. It's like super little. The floor plan is a little weird. We've got a bedroom on this top floor, and then we have a kitchen, dining room, and a bathroom on the main floor, and then the bottom floor has the living room, another bedroom, and another bathroom. So it's a little weird, and that's because I did this sort of like funky sort of landscaping, and I really wanted to go like into the basement. And so like this isn't a new trick for me, like building into the basement, opening up the space to light and adding windows there. I've been using that trick for a while because I really like it, but I figured out how to take screenshots and videos in the basement while still seeing the above floors. And if you've never used the sort of panoramic tab mode camera on The Sims, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but basically when you're on the first floor or above, so not the basement yet, and you go to move the camera down, it stops. It won't go below a certain level. And so you can't do those kind of panoramic shots in the basement because when you go down, you move the floors down, it's just darkness. There's nothing else around it. And I think that's because it makes gameplay easier, and so that's kind of why they set it up that way. But I figured out a trick to make it so you can. This is the painting we based it off of, by the way, and here you can see I'm sort of picking my exterior color palette. I didn't go with yellow on the outside of the house because I thought it'd be a bit much, which is why we got pops of yellow in this. But I figured out how to do that, and I've either have made or am making a tutorial video, so you guys will be able to do it as well, because it was such a, you can see it in the intro panoramic shots. You can see me moving from the basement seamlessly up into the upper floors, and I'm so excited right now. Especially, I'm really super duper excited because I also figured out how to slow down the camera on the fourth and third floor. Because if you also use the camera and you move it up to the third or fourth floor, you know it goes crazy. It's very sensitive, and so it's very hard to position it to take screenshots or panoramic shots or anything like that. And I figured that out too, and I'm like, I just recorded that video, so I'm like really like, oh my god, you guys, I've learned this thing. Like, I actually just found it, because I was thinking, you know, like, there has to be a way, and so I just was fiddling around with it for 2 seconds, and I figured it out. And so I'm now going to share that with, not right now, in a different video, but that will be coming soon, not quite sure when, because I'm right in the middle of a move. So I have to move across the state for my graduate program for this year. So I'm kind of right in the middle of a move when everything is happening, but the videos will get put out eventually. If I'm really bad at responding to comments right now, that's why. But you can see here, I like to put like trees in the basement that poke out into the upper floors. I've done that trick before. I love it. I love it so much. So definitely like one of my favorite tricks. For some reason, I end up using bamboo a lot. I think it's because it's one of the more narrow trees, and I'm not quite sure why, but also bamboo kind of fits with the modern sort of theme of a build, at least in my opinion. I feel like my modern builds tend to be like, I guess, very zen is I guess how you might, but I feel like that's because the best modern stuff we got, or like kind of the foundation of a lot of modern builds, is the Spa Day stuff pack or game pack. And so, yeah. Oh my gosh, I've been so excited about my little tutorial video that I didn't even share the biggest news of all. Are you guys ready for this? Because I'm not. I'm really not ready for this. But I am an EA game changer. I'm very excited. I applied to be one, and then I became one. There were 350 applicants, and almost 50 people got in. So I'm one of those 50, and I'm really excited. Basically what that means is I will be getting early access to new like game packs and stuff. I might get some sneaky peeks of some things, so I might be super secretive and aloof from now on. No, I won't. I mean, I'll be secretive, but I won't be aloof. But yeah, that kind of thing. I will get the new content for free as well, so that's really exciting. That's not what I'm most excited about. For me, I'm most excited to kind of get the content early, because for me, with grad school, that means I can kind of plan ahead more. As to when my videos come out, I'll have like a bit of a heads up instead of it just like kind of dropping and me being like, but I have 8 tests tomorrow. I really hope I never have 8 tests in one day. I will cry. I might, but I hope not. But yeah, and also being a game changer is about, you know, kind of showing off the game to the community, interacting with the community, being like a spokesperson, and I'm really excited about that. And I feel like I kind of already do that without being a game changer, so that's why it's not like the first very thing on my list, but I am very excited. I will have to say, in the past, I have kind of talked negatively about the game changers, and I've definitely thrown around the words like, it's not really fair. And to be completely honest, in a lot of ways, it's still not fair. Like, it's not fair that I'm going to be getting this content before the majority of the users. And sure, you know, I have a YouTube channel, I have a Twitch, you know, I have a strong gallery like profile, you know, I'm pretty active, I have a Twitter. I actually just hit 1,000 followers on Twitter also. That's exciting and weird. You know, and so like I do a lot, but at the same time, there are tons of other people who do the same thing as me, and not everyone can get it. And so, especially in the past, I felt kind of like bitter about that, because I was one of those people who didn't get it. And I feel like that's more because there wasn't really an application process, or at least there seem to be, especially when they changed over community managers. It seems like the application there didn't really get looked at, because I applied once before and I didn't get in, and I never heard back about that application. But when I applied this time, I did get in. And so I'm not 100% certain about like all of the inner workings, but to me, it had seemed like it was only the most popular channels got to be game changers. And it seems very unfair for those smaller channels who are still, you know, it just seemed like another thing that works against smaller channels and smaller followings. But the way they pick game changers now is different. It's not about your numbers. It's about the content you produce, how regularly you produce it, and how you interact with your community. And so I really like that new approach to game changers. There's also a lot more of us now. There are like, I think 200 something, don't quote me on that, but there are a lot more, because in the past it used to seem like there were only like a handful of game changers. I still think it's a little unfair that we get it so early. I think it's like 2 days before everybody else does. In a lot of ways, I do wish it was only 1 day ahead, just because you kind of get an oversaturation after 2 days. So like, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I wanted to be upfront with you guys, because in the past I've definitely complained, because I'm a complainer, about the Game Changer program and about how I wasn't a game changer, but now I am a game changer. And so I just wanted to be really transparent, because I was hypocritical, but my viewpoint changed partially because I got in, you know, but I'm human and that's how it works. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, especially because it was weighing on me. So we'll see. But yeah, we've gone through most of the build. I mean, I have been talking about related stuff because it's game changer talk, but still. Mostly modern vibe. You can still see these pops of yellow. I had a lot of fun furnishing this house. It's just the direction of the color palette I think was really helpful without it being too extreme. I never did do the one color challenge. You know, but you can see that painting off on the side. That's where I decided to use it. I did a whole collage in the front hallway. I thought that was a cute way to do that. You can use that just once in the house, or you could use it anywhere else in your build. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the color story challenge this month, which makes me really sad because I really love it. But I feel like I've been doing so few builds lately that I don't want every other build to end up being a color story challenge, because as much fun as I have doing that, it might get a little repetitive for me to pop in like every month and be like, oh, and here I am doing it. So we'll see how it goes. I might build it on my own time and just post it to the gallery sort of thing, but you probably won't be seeing another color story video for a little bit. But maybe for October we'll see what Ryn picks out and see if it speaks to me. This month's is like the new sort of picture frame of a piece of cloth that we got in the free update. So yay! Yeah, I really like that it's base game oriented since not everyone has the packs. But yeah, so I have more fun stories to tell. So I'm moving, yeah. Moving across the state of Washington, so going east. And I have 2 stories to tell. So the first one is specifically about the place I'm moving to. So I'm moving to a place that's already pre-furnished, and I'm going to have 3 roommates, which is a big change from me living just with my boyfriend. And so it's because I'm only going to be there for a year. It's kind of, the program's kind of weird, but I'm only going to be there for a year. And so I'm going out there by myself, and I didn't want to steal all of the furniture in my boyfriend and I's apartment. I couldn't just like take the couch and the bed and run, because then he wouldn't have anything. And I didn't want to like buy a whole bed and then what do I do with the whole bed, you know, in a year? So I went with a pre-furnished option, and I think that'll really work for me. But that also, the trade-off for me with that is I am going to have 3 roommates. So hopefully it'll all work out okay. They've all been living together for a year already, so I'm kind of like popping in to the situation. So hopefully everything will mesh. We'll all like jive well together, get really groovy. Why am I picking these words? Why do I age myself? I'm only 25. I am not 40. I don't need to be using words like jive and groove and like jiggy with it or whatever. But anyways, here's the fun story I wanted to tell. So I moved in some of my stuff, not all of it. The whole transition isn't complete. But when I moved in, none of the other girls were there. And so I had asked if they wanted me to bring anything to the apartment, you know, like kitchen stuff, like a blender, but they already have everything, like all of the kitchen appliances. And so I was like, please tell me what I can bring. And they're like, well, we kind of go through forks really fast. I'm like, okay, I can bring some forks. So nobody was there. So I left a little note saying, hey, I was here today. And I put the forks, you know, there, a pack of 12 forks. It's too many forks. And I'm like, here are some forks. Let me know if you need anything else. We'll be all meeting soon. So, you know, that's fine. It's kind of quirky, cool. I'm okay with that. But then when I left, I didn't lock the door behind me. So now I'm that weird, quirky girl who brings forks and doesn't lock the door. Which, you know, if you have a roommate that's weird and quirky, that's one thing. If you have a roommate that doesn't lock the door, that's another thing. And in my defense, it's a weird locking system. We have plastic keys, and it's just like a nubbin. Instead of like, you know, the little like teeth of the keys, you know, that make it all jagged, it's just a nubbin. And you stick it into a hole in the door, and it's like a hotel key, and it like lights up and says, yes, you can enter. And so you open the door and you go in. So I was operating on hotel key, where if you close the door behind you, it automatically locks. It doesn't just stay open. You have to have a card to get in. It's not. So I very firmly closed the door behind me. I'm like, okay, we're good. You know, I closed the door behind me. Oh, but it didn't actually lock. Because that's not how it works. It actually works like a key in that you can unlock it and it'll be open indefinitely until you lock it again. And we should have figured that out because we kept getting confused as to why our key wasn't working anymore. And the key wasn't working anymore because we were locking the door instead of opening it because it was already open. But anyways, I probably shouldn't worry this much. It's probably the anxiety talking. But I'm just like, and now I'm that weird girl who brings 12 forks and then leaves the door unlocked. Oh, first impressions are important. And that's my first impression, but I'm sure we'll go from there and it'll be good. But I just thought that would be a fun story to tell. It's a weird space key. I don't know. It's new age. I'm too old for this stuff. Anyways, I also had a little story about from when I was coming home. We're driving highway. It's very rural, not much around. We go to get gas. We're both really hungry. So the gas station is connected to a diner. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go to this diner. Let's get some food. And so my boyfriend's going to go park the car and I'm going to go get a table. And so I go in and I'm like, oh, hey, can we have a table for two? And the person I'm asking is the cashier at the gas station. And so that was kind of weird. But then he kind of figured out what I was saying. He's like, yeah, sure, pick whatever table. And so I go in and there's literally nobody in this like cafe or diner. There's like no other people. It's completely silent. The other half is a gas station. There are a couple of people buying like their Fritos, but on this side there's nobody else. It's just me sitting awkwardly at this table. And so I look at the table and there's like, you know, where they have like the menus and stuff. Well, instead of menus, there are these little like mini books, almost like children's books. And they have weird titles like tips and tricks for guys to figure out how women work, or 55 traits that annoying people have, and like books like that, and they're really weird and like off-putting, and I'm just like, what is this place? Like, this is weird, but I mean, okay, I guess. And so the guy's like, oh, hey, do you want anything to drink? I'm like, oh, I'll just have water. And he's like, is a water bottle okay? And I'm like, I mean, it's a glass of water, but I'm just like, okay. And so he hands me the water bottle, and I just kind of, you know, set on the table, because at this point I'm starting to get really weird vibes being in this deserted restaurant type thing in a gas station with these weird pamphlet booklets on the table, and my boyfriend still hasn't, you know, entered, and it's just me. And so I then look over at the kitchen and I realize there's nobody in that kitchen. And so I'm like, so can we get food here? you know, like, is the, you know, kitchen open? And the guy's like, no, my chef's gone, but I could make you like a burger or something. I could whip something up for you. And that's when I'm like, no. No, I actually don't want your non-chef burger. I'm sure maybe he makes a really great burger. I don't know. But it was a cashier at a gas station in the middle of nowhere offering to make me a burger, and that was like my only option. At that point, I was like, I'm a vegetarian, which is very true. It's very true, but that's the excuse I use. I was never more thankful to be a vegetarian. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a vegetarian. I can't have a burger. I'm just gonna go now. So I leave the unopened water bottle on the table and I leave. And like my boyfriend is just starting to pull out of the fueling area to go park the car and join me in the restaurant. I'm like, nope, we're going. We're leaving. There's a creepy vibe in there. Like, I don't know, like, it's so weird. And then when I tell him that, he's like, yeah, I thought it was kind of a creepy place. And I was like, why didn't you just tell me that? He was like, because you were hungry. And I'm like, I don't care if I'm hungry. I don't want to get, like, axe murdered or salmonella or just, I don't want to sit in a restaurant where they have pamphlets on how to decipher the female sex. It's just it's a weird thing. It was weird. So we ended up going on the road again, and then in about like an hour we found a Taco Del Mar and we went there. And it worked out fine, but it was just like a lot of warning bells were ringing in my head and I was like, this is weird. Okay, let's go. But yeah, anyways, I've hardly talked about the build. This is the basement part. The layout is definitely kind of weird, but I do like each individual room. I think it's cute. I feel like I designed this bottom sort of bedroom to be the guest bedroom, but I guess really in the end it's the upstairs one that's more of a guest bedroom since you have to go outside to get to it. Very weird. I bet people get just as weird vibes from my builds as they do with me in that gas station, because I don't know. It was just that the lot was so small, but still, it's a little weird, but you know, it looks cute. And that's what we're going with. But, I had a little note. I was so excited to get to use that base game rug. I used it in the living room there. I almost never get to use that thing, especially not before we had the size down tool. So I was really excited about that. But we are coming up on the end of this build. I really hope you enjoyed that and my ramblings. If you did, feel free to give me a like, a comment, or subscribe. And yeah, that sort of thing. I hope you guys are all having a really great day, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye! It's always so weird when I do that, but okay.